Thanks for having me. I have 15 minutes, and Bookmyshow has been around for 18 years, so I have less than a minute for every year that I need to speak about. So I'm going to make it really quick. The topic was about the Indian ecosystem and some valuable insights to entrepreneurs. The best way I can do this is by giving my own story on the journey, the background, who we are, and where we intend to go. Also by giving you certain anecdotes and things that we've done along the way, things that we've learned, and imparting that knowledge to some of you guys who are a part of this ecosystem. So it all started because of smoking and alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't mind people smoking. But I used to work in advertising, and everybody has chai and cigarettes. I think that's how the creative ideas flow. But it was a problem because it was an air-conditioned office, and I had a big issue with that. And I used to wonder why J. Walter Thompson allowed smoking in the offices. Little did I realize that ITC was their brand and they couldn't chuck them out. And so I took a holiday to South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Botswana. It was just one of those discovery holidays. I was backpacking, I got mugged. I took trains, planes, automobiles. I was under a big tree at Storms River Valley when I heard a radio commercial trying to sell rugby tickets online. And I said, shit, this is something that we can do in India. I remember going with your girlfriends or multiple girlfriends sitting on the steps of a movie theater, and they wouldn't give you tickets because the 1953 Cinema Regulation and Telegraphic Act of India hasn't been changed till today. You had these pigeonholes of advance and current bookings. You would get lathi charged in the line when you went to buy a cricket ticket, and you were a customer. Forget user experience, you were getting bashed by the cops because you wanted to go and buy a ticket. By the time you reached the box office, it would say it's sold out. And I didn't think too much about it on that trip. I continued my journey and I went to Cape Town. And I was in a wine-growing region of Stellenbosch. It's like the Napa of US or the Nasik of India. And it's really nice because you can go and pay 10 rands or 20 rands, and a lot of vineyards are free, where you go and you sip wine. Now, something odd happens with wine. When you have chai, cutting chai outside, everybody becomes very colloquial and Indian. And when they have wine, they suddenly, let the wine breathe. And, let it swirl through your teeth and your palate, and all that bullshit was happening. I'm an Indian. I come from a land of scarcity, number one. Number two, I'm a Sindhi, where the nostrils are large and the air is free. I'm not spitting any good red wine. I kept drinking and drinking and drinking. By the time it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was smashed out of my brains. So it started with smoking, ended up with alcohol. I was in a youth hostel bunk bed. I sent the most expensive SMS of my life to my boss at that time, 186 rupees at that time. And I said, I'm quitting. I realized only the next day. I came back to Bombay. I didn't have a job. I started building a business plan. I went to Shailendra. At that time, I went to Sequoia. No, maybe later. I went to a lot of guys, and then I sent a fax to Chase Capital Partners, JP Morgan, and they gave me 2 crores. Those were the dot-com boom days. And this gets me to the point that I went through the dot-com bust in 2002. Everybody's seeing what the environment. I think it's a very healthy and a great time to be in India. I don't think you should lose hope and be pessimistic. As an entrepreneur, you don't have an option. The pessimist says the glass is half empty. The optimist says the glass is half full. As an entrepreneur, you look at the empty section and you said, I'm going to add some scotch. Either going to enjoy the journey or be too drunk to care. So 1999, the internet penetration, the credit card, debit card, the ecosystem didn't exist. In the internet business, your cost curve needs to flatten as your revenue curve keeps rising. Please remember that lesson. Also, it needs to keep widening. In our case, every time people called us, because 98% of our bookings took place on the call center, we would add more bodies behind the call center. We would have more people doing home deliveries. We were probably the first company in the world, 99 to 2002, where we did cash on delivery for live inventory. So we used to buy inventory from cinemas because there was no automation. And we would have an actual loss on the weekdays because nobody wanted to go to the movies. And we had an opportunity loss on the weekends because we could sell more. And every time we got called for more tickets, we would have more people behind the call center. So it was hugely inefficient. I got invested by News Corp in 2001. By 2002, I had the dot-com bust. I went from 150 people down to 6, if that is a barometer of success or failure. I moved from a 2,500 square foot office to a 136 apartment in Bandra. And that's where the hockey stick growth happened. We decided to invest in building the ecosystem. So we started installing ticketing software, we started running call centers, we started running white label services for concerts and events. And I'm going to use a few anecdotes to tell you that you don't need to have SAP, Oracle. I'm sorry if there are folks in the room from those companies. They're great companies, but I'm saying you can find simple answers to complex problems by just using your common sense. So I'll give you a couple of examples. The way we built our CRM and the way we actually tracked non-delivery receipts. At that time, there were no GPS devices, there were no satellites, there was no cell phone communication, there was no camera phones and smartphones. Whenever we delivered tickets and somebody said, hey, listen, I haven't got my tickets, it's a non-delivery receipt. You know what we used to do? We used to take the description of the door. So the guy would call up and say, hey, listen, I haven't got my tickets. We'd say, hey, are you on the 3rd floor? Do you have a blue color door with a horseshoe on it and a grill? And the guy said, how the fuck do you know? We're saying we were there. It was common sense. How did we build our CRM? And I'm going to give you a real example. I'm going to change the name of this guy in Delhi called Mr. Khanna. Every time Mr. Khanna bought 2 tickets for a sleazy movie, he used to get the tickets delivered to his office for a sleazy cinema. Every time he bought 4 tickets for a family film, he would get it delivered to his home. If you have an analytical layer on top of it, Khanna was having an affair. I knew it. He knew it, nobody else did. Similarly, we had a guy called Pappu Pelwan from Paharganj. I love Delhi bashing. Sorry, Delhiites, but you know, from Bombay, you usually take a little dig. I had this guy from Delhi called Pappu Pelwan. Every 4th transaction, he would snatch the tickets and bang the door on us. And so we started whitelisting and blacklisting customers. That's how we built our CRM. 2007, the market turned again. I did a slum sale, I negotiated a deal and went and bought back the company from News Corp. I owned 100% of the company at that time. In 2007, we got reinvested and then we haven't looked back. Let me tell you where we stand today. And this is something that you won't hear in newspapers from us because we're very PR shy and media shy. We don't actually talk about all of this. Bookmyshow has 1,500 employees. We are in 370 cities and towns. We're in 4 geographies, 4 countries right now. We're probably one of the top 3 e-commerce brands in the country by volume. We sell 12 to 15 million tickets a month. We have 100 million visits. We have 3 billion page views. And we did 2,500 crores of GMV last year. And we're going to do 5,000 crores this year. Those are the metrics. But those are the metrics that you will not hear about us. What are the metrics that we value today? You know, when you go to a rock concert, by the way, I'm the guy who can get you the Coldplay tickets in Bombay on November 19th, so be nice to me. So anyways, you know, when you run an event like a Coldplay concert and you have 105,000 people, you have turnstiles, you have satellite, you dig trenches, you put optic fiber, you have people scanning your devices, etc., etc. The guy that runs the entire warehousing of this inventory that goes up and down used to be an office boy at Bookmyshow. My customer agent, my customer services head, used to be a call center agent, became a team leader, became a supervisor, today leads a team of 270 people, and our NPS is one of the highest. It's how you value the people that work around you is extremely important. How frugal you are in running your business. My alternate light bulbs are off, all my ACs are on 24. We still use pins, paper, envelopes, even today. This is how you run a business. The metric of land grab, market opportunity, market size, universe of the market, how much valuation do you have, how many people do you employ, is absolute bullshit. So stop focusing on those metrics. The other thing that I wanted to actually talk to you about is today, when we look at a consumer problem, we look at it very differently. We look at a common sense solution first, we get back to the drawing board, we look at user interactions, and we just focus on the product. Now, let me tell you a few other things. When we looked at movie tickets, plays, concerts, events, we started figuring out what is it that makes consumer behavior tick in India. Why is it that people love going to the movies? A lot of people told me, oh, listen, we are very poor, we want to run away from reality, that's why we like seeing women dance around trees. It's bullshit. It's the cheapest form of indoor entertainment. We're a hot country, all of us are sitting indoors. We have 10 months of bright sunlight. Most Indians are vitamin D deficient because we like to be indoors. And therefore, it's the cheapest form of indoor air-conditioned entertainment. And that's why movies do so well. And socially, it's acceptable to go with families to watch movies. We're sitting on a day when MS Dhoni is released. It's taken the biggest opening after Sultan. And that's because people want to be indoors. They don't want to be outdoors. The environment is too harsh. And therefore, when we looked at focus groups on what people want out of Bookmyshow, we started launching products to match their aspirations. So everybody will talk to you about, all of you read Economic Times, the pink papers, every day you're seeing valuations, entrepreneurs coming out of the woodwork, this guy made so many billions, all of you want to become entrepreneurs. All of you go and sell Kool-Aid to an investor and say, here is the market opportunity, here is the market size. Let's be real. In India, there are 1.2 billion Indians, 900 million handsets, 300 million smartphones, 200 million data connections, growing 100% year on year. But that's your TAM. There are only 25 million credit cards owned by 10 million Indians. There are only 450 million bank accounts. There is 10% of top India that owns 65% of the wealth of this country. The bottom 40% of the country owns only 5% of the wealth. So how are you going to address that guy? And so for me, it's very important to have a very common sense approach in the way you grow your business. Of course, we are growing 100% year on year. Of course, it's a great time to be here. But the reason there is a pullback is because everybody got ahead of themselves. Now to come to a couple of other things that we do. I wanted to give you a few examples on how we are using data today. So right now, we've got something where we actually take your location services, and we know exactly when you're surfing for a movie on Bookmyshow, and you're looking at a trailer, and you've not watched a movie on Bookmyshow. So suppose you come to Bookmyshow today, and you looked at the trailer of Dhoni, the movie, and you didn't do anything about it. But I'm seeing your GPS location 3 days down the line at PVR Kormangla, and you're there for 2 hours. I can safely assume that you were an intended shopper, you looked at the trailer, but you didn't buy on Bookmyshow. Is it something that I can target you with? I missed Sully the movie. I did not watch it because I was traveling. You know that I watch English movies. You know my behavior, you know my surfing history, you know my browsing history, you know all the data that I have. And then on top of that, if you use that data science to say, Ashish did not go and watch Sully, 3 months down the line when this movie is available, I can actually send you a push notification saying, hey, listen, movie of the day, we know you'd like to watch Sully, but you haven't seen the movie. This is how you sort of look at problems and look at consumers and their behavior before and after an experience. We've recently started something on, because Bookmyshow only looks at 100% digital payments, we've started addressing the people which are outside of the digital payments. So if you look at India and the universe, there are 3.6 billion movie tickets sold annually, which is all of Africa, North America, Middle East, and Europe put together. But there are only 12 screens per million people in India as opposed to 120 in the US per million. The average ticket price in the US is $8. The average ticket price in India is $1.50, $1.70. The average multiplex ticket price is about $3 to $4, which we are used to. So if you see, the headroom is phenomenal, but where is the next growth of consumers going to come from? And that's when we started looking at the COD customers. If we start COD again, it's a hugely inefficient business. So we launched the wallet. We didn't realize that we are the 5th largest wallet in the country, and we've done it silently, and consumers like you have actually loaded money on it. Now we've signed up with brands and 100,000 locations where you can actually load money. We've started looking at credit scores of customers and slowly started opening it up. So one of the things that we've done is that we've launched Reserve Now and Pay Later up to 1 hour before the show. And the other one that we're going to do is looking at your social data, your browsing history, your purchase history, and start taking a risk on our high spending customers to say that you can actually buy a ticket and pay for it even a month later. And so start taking a credit risk on customers to address the people which are cash on delivery customers. So these are a couple of things that we constantly look at and try and evolve over a period of time. And it's these incremental changes and increments that we make, and not these big announcements that we make and say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do tomorrow and revolutionize and change the world, because that's not how businesses run. And it's about these little anecdotes that are extremely important on on the human endeavor. Now, I want to end it up because I can see this ticker, this time bomb, and I'm going to give you two anecdotes. So the way we look at human sciences, we obviously looked at our payment page. A lot of you don't realize that Bookmyshow is probably the only brand for the last 18 years. I believe you're running a coffee shop. Imagine you walking up to a Starbucks and saying, hey, can I have an Americano with milk on the side? And the guy says, yeah, tell me your name, tell me your gender, what's your mother's name, what's your anniversary date, and what's your birthday? You're like, fuck you, yeah, give me my coffee. Bookmyshow is a coffee shop. You come to us and buy a cup of coffee. Have we ever asked you for your name? Have we ever asked you for any information? The only time I ask you for your email ID and mobile number is on the payment page because I need to serve you a ticket. And because of that, just by that piece of information, I can track everything about you. I don't need to know anything more about you. I don't need to know your gender. I know the type of movies you watch. If you're buying kiddie movies and adult movies, and if you're going on an evening show versus a morning show, I can safely assume and build a kundli of yours on who you are. And that's really the case, right? That's all you need to know. You don't need to have more information and create friction. The other thing that we did was on the payment page, we realized that the science around the size of a button, the color of a button, the font that you use makes a difference on how people consume and pay. The other thing that we did, because this time bomb has stopped now, I can talk about it, is that on the payment page, if you've realized, a lot of people have a cancel button, right? Bookmyshow doesn't have a cancel button. It has a timer which has a 15-minute timer, and we've removed the cancel button. We saw 22% lift because consumers come and they look at it and they're like, fuck, this is going to explode, and they go and pay. They can shut the browser. Now I'm going to come to two last anecdotes, and then I'll open it up to Q&As for 5 minutes because I know everybody's running late. You know, the metric that you need to have in life is more important, and that's very close to my heart. I'm not a religious guy. I don't go to a temple and touch a cow or put money or put milk on Shiva's phallic symbol, shivling, and when there is a poor child outside who needs milk and you're pouring milk, I don't believe in that crap. If you've noticed on Bookmyshow, very silently, I've started cheating all you users. There is a 1 rupee per ticket that I have, which is an opt-out instead of an opt-in. Honestly speaking, it should have been an opt-in because it's optional. But if you read the Mahabharata, which is a beautiful book in philosophy, it talks about Krishna's discourse to Arjun about the end being important and not the means. He basically cheated and did everything by the book, outside of the book to actually make something happen. If you notice that 1 rupee a ticket, which is an opt-out, it's a blind spot to most of you guys. And just because you don't do anything about it, you end up paying me 3 rupees per transaction if you buy 3 tickets. Do you know how much I collect from each one of you guys totally in a year? 9 crores. Now, what have I done with that money? I sent a kid to the Pan Am Games double amputee 2 months ago, and he won the silver medal at the Pan Ams. We sent the girls from Yuva who are rape and acid victims, and they played barefoot in America in 20 cities, and they got a standing ovation. They lost every match. We spent money to get Salman Khan to PVR Juhu for terminally ill cancer kids. 1,500 of them paid for their popcorn, Coke, and their samosas, and Salman spent 45 minutes with them. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. That's the money that we use, that you give us on the 1 rupee. Is that the metric which is important? Yes, it is. We run a voluntary fund in the company, which all of us pay for. Outside of your CTC, we run a medical program for every single employee, his parents, a set of 2 kids, and 1 spouse. If you have 2 hidden somewhere, that's your problem, but for 1 spouse, we pay for. And those are the metrics which are extremely critical as you build a business. And I think when you look at that and you set yourself certain higher goals than valuation, profit, etc., for me, Monday mornings have been as exciting as Friday evenings. We have a Vedanta class on Tuesday, we have yoga Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have beer sessions on Friday, we have leadership series, we have squads and tribes, we run agile in the company, all of that is there. But the fact is, if you raise the bar for yourself and the goals, everything else becomes secondary.
How do I get the Coldplay tickets?
They're sold out.
Without booking, complimentary.
Complimentary, then you need to, see, we partnered with the Global Citizens, which is a charity.
Without all that. You're here, I'm here.
Sorry?
You're here and I'm here. Where's the Coldplay ticket?
I'm a Sindhi, you need to pay me money. Either for social justice, go and do good, go and get some social currency, which is 23 points, and then apply for it. There's a lottery, you'll get the free tickets. Have some shame. Do that or pay money. It's either two. It's 2 things. Yes?
Hi, I wanted to ask, how do you create a monopoly?
Well, see, it is a monopolistic situation. I didn't create the monopoly. We are fucking good at our job. I'm not ashamed of that. We're extremely good at what we do. So if you're good at what you do, it automatically puts you in a leadership position. Look, when I started Bookmyshow in 1999, within a year, I was 24, I'm 42 today. First of all, persevere in what you do, believe in what you do, and continue. I was wiped out. I was literally on the streets in 2002. I didn't have money to eat. I had to buy back my company by putting my parents' home on a mortgage and paying 70 lakh rupees to do a slum sale. So if you believe in what you do, you will continue to succeed. And I'm saying we are still at the tip of the iceberg. But the fact of the matter is, when I started in 1999, I had 19 competitors after that. One by one, all of them shut down, and slowly we acquired 2 of them. Again, when this whole issue of this pullback has happened, we're in the middle of 4 acquisitions. We've just completed 3 last week. And there is great talent available, there are great businesses, there are great teams and great technology. It's just that they've run out of money. The problem with entrepreneurs today is that they think like investors, which is not their job. That's the job of the investor. They're doing their job by giving you the money. More companies die out of indigestion than starvation. The moment you get a lot of money, you start doing stupid things. Stop doing that, and if you just focus on the right metrics, you will succeed.
Hi, my name is Akshay.
Hi.
Is there a possibility of surge pricing ever coming into booking movie tickets?
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I'll tell you something. We just ran the India-Australia series in Sri Lanka, and we did a surge pricing. We increased the revenue for the Sri Lankan board ever by 7x. They've never seen it. And just because we did surge pricing, it should come. The problem in India is the e-tax law. So you have to declare to the government a week in advance what your ticket price is going to be. There's already a de facto surge built in because on a Monday you get a ticket for 150 bucks. On a weekend, that same cinema, same theater, same bum on the seat, the same projection system, the same air conditioner is 450 rupees. Nothing changes, right? So there is already a surge pricing built in. But with GST, we're hoping to push legislation to make sure that there is surge pricing because it should impact customers like you. If you buy early and you commit yourself early, you should be able to get a cheaper price.
Absolutely.
It's a government issue, not mine. Yes?
Are you running on app only? Is it?
No, I think that's a stupid strategy. We've never declared stuff in the newspaper. We're an app-only company. We're a country where the next phase of smartphones is going to be where the camera and the screen will be great, but the memory of the phone will be very low, right? You're going to get a lot of users, millions of users, which will have low handsets. The problem is that you need real estate space there for you to be a daily needs app. The fact of the matter is that if you are an app-only company and you do not have a mobile web or a website, what will the first use case of that consumer who's going to be your first-time user? He's not going to be an app-only customer. He needs to come in and you've got to open up the funnel. So we are on the web, we're on the call center, we are a baniya shop, we're a dhanda. Wherever you want to give us the money, we are ready to take it from you. I mean, why should I stop you from coming to me? It's stupid. I mean, a kid or a driver in Tiruchirappalli who uses a very low-end phone and uses a browser is as important to me than a guy living in Koramangala in Bangalore. I mean, why should I disadvantage that guy? Thank you very much. 5 minutes for Q&As.
Growth is definitely scaling up, expanding a company's customer base. So trying to reach out, get more customers on board. But while one does that, one is also looking at their brand or the promise.
We think that the founders that are coming today are much stronger. The quality of the founders is much higher. Because about 5 years ago, many of the founders had experience, let's say on the tech side with Google R&D, Microsoft R&D. Today they're coming out from they actually have startup experience, right? Ex-Flipkart, ex-Ola, ex-Snapdeal. They've seen product launches, they've seen product failures also.